Hello everyone and welcome back to the F2 show by Inside F2. It's the one you've all been waiting for, our 2025 Formula 2 grid predictions. We know this one, you guys like this, it generates a lot of engagement every year. So let's get on with it. We've got Formula 3 commentator Chris McCarthy with us. We've got Motorsport journalist Aaron Harper with us as well to predict the 2025 Formula 2 grid. Chris, first of all, how are you? And you ready to make some fun predictions for 2025?
Yeah, well, thanks very much for having me. It's been a really fun season following F2 and F3. I think we're going to be mentioning a lot of names from both championships in this. F3, I don't think could have been any better, really, and I don't think F2 could have been any more unpredictable. So I think we've been really treated to two fantastic championships. One still isn't over. I think the new car really delivered in F2 so far. With unpredictability, every team's been on the podium. Super battle for the championship. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and it already is that time, isn't it? Silly season in the feeder series now begins with signings coming in quickly already. So yeah, very excited to be back. Thanks for having me.
I believe you've got an event coming up, which sounds a very exciting event. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm going to be doing hosting a fundraising event with the Young Epilepsy Charity called Setting Purple Sectors, all in aid of raising money for the Young Epilepsy Charity and raising awareness really for epilepsy in motorsports, which I don't really think has really been done too much before.
Yeah.
It came around after we bought members of the charity and their Youth Voice Network, who they work with from within the charity. We brought them down to a British GT event at Silverstone, and it was the first experience that those people have had first taste they'd had of motorsport. They were fans, but they'd never got to go to a racetrack before, and we brought them down. And Forsetti Motorsport and Elite Motorsport were very kind to us to let us go to their garages and get those Youth Voice Network members in the cars and get them pit lane access and everything like this, and we got to give them a full experience of the event. And off the back of that, now we're going to do a fundraising event at Simply Racing Milton Keynes on Tuesday the 12th of November, which is going to be a charity race, a 2-hour charity race with very familiar faces, some of the people we've been talking about from Formula 2, Formula 3, F4, FRECA, things like this. And we're going to have a really good night of racing, really, to raise some money and raise awareness on epilepsy. It's restricted me from racing myself on the track, but not virtually, and not having a career in it. So that's what we're trying to do. Tell people that if you suffer with epilepsy, you can still work within the sport. You can still have experiences like going to Simply Race and other venues like that within the sport, and you can still be part of the community like we are now. So that's the whole idea of the event. It's going to be really fun. We've got some really big names announced that we'll announce soon, names that you definitely be familiar with from Formula 2 and Formula 3 that are going to be there competing as team leaders. So if you want to race against them in the same room, then you can purchase tickets to the event and be part of it.
An amazing cause. It promises to be a great event, and Aaron and I think are going to pop along as well. We'll pop down. So what we'll do, we'll put the link to the event in the description below, in the comments below, so you guys can click straight on the link and go straight to it. We've got a habit on this show of recording a podcast, and then by the time it's released, news has already been broken. So we're going to have to get this one out nice and quickly before some drivers are announced. Aaron, you've done this before. Your score last year was a whopping 3 out of 22. Sorry, I had to throw you under the bus. I had to. Are you going to? Are you sticking to what your perceived logic is, or are you just going to get 22 driver names and shuffle them like a Spotify playlist this year?
I have hit the randomize button, that is for sure, because I don't think anyone is where they are. Only one person, from what I can look at very quickly, is where they were this year in Formula 2 or Formula 3, of course. So it's you just got to make it up and hope that you're right, really. That's the lesson that I've learned. Just a little bit of an educated guess. Oh, they drove for them like back in the day in FRECA or in Formula 3. Maybe they'll go back. It's, it's it's like black magic sort of thing. It's like an inexact science. It's good fun though.
It really is. And Chris, just for context, last year, so Aaron, Lawrence and I did it. And between the three of us, I got 5, Aaron got 3, Lawrence got 4 out of 22 drivers, correct? So expectations are extremely low this year. Okay. 5 is the record to beat. Let's get into it then. There's 11 teams. There's 22 spaces available. There's a lot of unknowns. There are 2 knowns, and we'll get into those shortly. We're going to go through team by team. We're going to go through in current championship order, starting with Invicta, ending with VAR, who are bottom of the team standings as we speak. So let's start with Invicta. And as we said, there are a couple of knowns already going into 2025, one of which is Formula 3 champion Leo Fornaroli has already been confirmed as one of the Invicta drivers. But Aaron, who do you have as Invicta's second driver alongside Fornaroli next season?
Well, first of all, does Fornaroli count as 1 for 2025 for me already?
I'll give you that. Yeah, you got 1 point in the bag already, mate. Yep.
Good. Okay, because I've paired him with Franco Colapinto.
Wow, okay. Wow, we're going in with the big guns already. Wow.
I think Williams are going to want him race sharp so that when Alex Albon or Carlos Sainz have their next medical emergency, he's primed and ready to jump into the Williams F1 car next season, because with those two, they have a bit of a checkered history in terms of needing to go to the hospital to have part of their body removed. Obviously we don't want them to, we'd rather them on the racetrack, but history suggests they might need to go and have some sort of organ removed again. So Franco Colapinto coming into Invicta, a team that's progressed this season, really nailed the new F2 car for this year. Obviously, as more teams are getting more understanding of the car, they're closing the gap. But Invicta have been pretty good. Bortoleto obviously winning from last in Monza. That was pretty special, wasn't it? So, this is a team that's going places. And I think Williams are going to want Colapinto in one of the top seats, doing a lot of winning, so he's ready for action if he's called upon in Formula One.
Very interesting, because I didn't have Colapinto returning to Formula 2 this year. Chris, who have you got as Fornaroli's teammate at Invicta?
It's a tough one to call this one, because they're a team that doesn't really have the opportunity to promote from within. It might sound a strange choice choosing this driver, because he has such a strong relationship with the team he's currently with. But maybe he could do now with a fresh change. But I'm going to go with Pepe Marti for this one. Okay. Just because I think maybe it's the livery he's driving with that's led to him having a difficult season. He's had a really, really tough time in Formula 2. But they tend to promote from within. They're going to have Leo Fornaroli coming in as a Formula 3 driver. So he'll have the chance to lead that team, essentially. It might give him the confidence boost that he needs there to try and lead a championship charge for them. Leo Fornaroli will be coming in as fresh champion, similar to what Gabriel Bortoleto did this year, but Pepe Marti could possibly have the opportunity to step across, be the guy that knows that car and try and continue to push the team forward and go on a championship assault for them. So, they bought Kushmani in to try and I think do that this year, and Bortoleto ended up going on to be the guy who really pushed forward for them. So yeah, I don't know if it will be him exactly, but I can see them bringing someone up from within the Formula 2 ranks to be alongside Fornaroli there, coming in from Formula 3. So maybe that could be an opportunity for someone like him.
Fascinating. Franco Colapinto for Aaron and Pepe Marti for Chris McCarthy, partnering Leo Fornaroli, the Formula 3 champion, stepping up to Formula 2 with Invicta. Okay, we're going to move on now to Campos, who are currently second in the standings. They have also confirmed a driver already. Arvid Lindblad, stepping up from Formula 3 this season. The standout rookie, in my opinion, in Formula 3 this season. It's really exciting to watch him in 2025. But Aaron, who have you gone with alongside him at Campos?
So I had to make a late change to this lineup. So this could be a one and done in terms of Lindblad, and that's it. So I've actually got Sebastian Montoya in there because I originally had Zane Maloney, and then remembered that he's off to Formula E. So I had to fill the gap somehow. I landed on Sebastian Montoya. Maybe his dad can sweet talk a few people into promoting Seb into Formula 2. That's not to say he's not worthy of a seat. He's just not sort of shown with his performances and the results that maybe he is one of those that they're going to pick. But we do see some left field appearances in the Formula 2 grid. I mean, no one expected Josh Dirksen to be on the grid this season, but he's jumped into this car and done superbly. So, don't ever rule it out. So, if Sebastian Montoya ends up at Campos, you heard it here first.
Got it. We'll be coming to Mr. Aaron Harper if he does end up there. You know what? I did actually. I think Seb Montoya has been extremely unlucky at points in Formula 3, and I think he's shown some real pace at points. And I did toy with the idea of potentially promoting him to Formula 2 in my predictions as well. Chris, who have you gone with to partner Arvid Lindblad for Campos next year?
Yeah, partnering him. Yeah, I'd probably say the same. I think he has also been unlucky there. I think that's a really good shout, actually. He has just had an unfortunate season. He probably want the opportunity to go back to red and white if he could, having had previous experience there. But landing at Campos this year was quite a good decision for him, and it could have been a really good year. They had a really good team put together. Going into this year in Formula 3, that looked like it was going to be the real star outfit. And I think they've done quite good on today to hold on to one of their drivers in Formula 3 there. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Sebastian Montoya jump up. I think he'd want to write off this season, really, just down to really bad fortunes. He looked very emotional after he eventually got the podium that he probably deserved after his performances. So, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him step up the pace he was demonstrating throughout the year. Paid off towards the end of the season with a deserving podium. And I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'd agree with Aaron there that I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him stepping up and staying with Campos. He's probably built quite a good relationship there now.
Interesting. So Arvid Lindblad and Sebastian Montoya at Campos in 2025 for both Aaron and Chris. We're going to move on then. We're going to pick up the speed a little bit now. We're going to go MP Motorsport, and that is it. They're the two drivers. Fornaroli and Lindblad are already confirmed, so it's all on the table now. Two drivers at MP Motorsport. Aaron, who you gone with?
I've gone with Jack Crawford and Richard Verschoor. I think I think Jack's shown enough that he's ready to lead one of the front-running teams, and Richard Verschoor has shown that he is a class act at this level. Whether he sticks around or finds a seat in a different series and category remains to be seen, but I'm sure he'll always be welcome back in the Formula 2 paddock.
Richard Verschoor, if he does, 98 race starts at the moment. The record is 120 by Ralph Boschung. If he does return next season and completes the season, he will become the highest, or the driver with the most number of race starts in Formula 2 history. So that would be very interesting if he came back to partner Jack Crawford at MP Motorsport. Chris, who you gone with?
So definitely I'd say one of them at MP next year will be Ollie Goethe. I think he's gonna jump into the NPC. I think they like to promote within. Speaking to them at the weekend as well, they seem like they like to keep their drivers within. I don't think they'll make a sort of drastic jump up and try and put anyone up. The only other option they could have is putting Nikita Bedrin up as well, who's been racing with them in Prema. So he's another one who's obviously putting in the time in the AIX car, but I think he's more building a relationship there. So I'd say Ollie Goethe is definitely going to be one that they look to promote up. Looking at that kind of outfit, they could promote someone up like Tim Tramnitz, but I'd say he would probably look to get another year under his belt in Formula 3, really. Looking at some of the names that might come back to do another year, to see if we can put anyone there that might look to switch teams. Just having a look at who might look to do another year. Someone like Enzo Fittipaldi might look to switch to another team. But I'd say Ollie Goethe is definitely going to be one of the drivers that they move up into that team, I'd say. And the other seat could be open for option there.
Definitely. I'm not doing my predictions in this video because I'm going to do a separate video with my predictions, because I want to hear from you guys today. I want to hear from Aaron and Chris about their predictions. But I've also gone with Ollie Goethe at MP Motorsport as well. I think he'll stick with that team, and we'll see. Okay, that's MP Motorsport. So just to recap, Aaron, you've gone with Jack Crawford and Richard Verschoor, and Chris, you've gone for Ollie Goethe and potentially Nikita Bedrin as their second driver. Let's go to Prema, the most successful Formula 2 team in the modern era since 2017. Not the best of seasons this season, I think that's fair to say, although now up to fourth in the championship, unbelievably. Always attract big names. Aaron, who have you gone for Prema? To watch which two drivers?
So Prema have a history of promoting from within, like many other junior teams do. Obviously, Oliver Behrman and Kimi Antonelli racing for them in other junior Formula, and are now progressing from Prema to Formula 1. So they're going to promote Gabriele Mini because he deputised for Oliver Behrman in Baku, so that kind of makes sense. That kind of points them in the direction that because Lindblad's off to Campos, that they then had a choice between Mini or Dino Beganovic, and they went for Gabriele Mini. Obviously, he finished higher in the F3 Championship this year, so that kind of made sense as like a bit of a reward. But I think they'll stick with him for next season, and they're going to partner him with Paul Aaron. He's going to return to the Prema unit and go for the F2 title, because he's done really well with Hitech this year. But Hitech threatened to be a big team like at the front regularly, and then they kind of just sort of go off the boil a little bit. I feel they kind of look like they're getting there, and then they drop back a bit. But Prema generally always there, and Paul Aaron has a history with them. He's shown he's capable of going for the title in Formula 2. Bit of bad luck this year, so I can see him stepping back into the red and white of Prema next year.
You've gone for exactly the same lineup as I have. Great minds, right? Chris, who you gone for at Prema for 2025?
It was funny. I wrote three names down for this one, which were Mini, Aaron, and Beganovic, and then I crossed Aaron out because I have a feeling he might go somewhere else who he's raced with in the past as well. I don't know why I think that. Because it is the most lucrative seat, isn't it? It is going to be one of the most lucrative seats that everyone wants to go for. I definitely think I agree that Gabriele Mini's going to jump into that. Now he's had that him being promoted was, I think, the full confirmation that we all needed.
Yeah.
And I think Dino Beganovic has had such a good season. That would be a massive step for them if they were to go and do that. Though to bring two new drivers in to that fold, but yeah, they've made such a good pairing for them in Formula 3. Something was telling me that Paul might go to a different team.
We'll get to it.
Because it didn't quite work out for him there when he raced for them in the past, and I maybe think that might see him go elsewhere. So, but I think those guys have had such good seasons with them in the past. Dino winning Formula Regional title, Gabriele won the Italian F4 title. They've both won championships with them. They'll go head to head once again this time. I think Dino fell off a little bit with them this year for whatever reason. It just didn't quite have his season, but I don't think that will deter him. I think the Formula Regional title will still be fresh for him, they might come up as a pair, which would be a bold decision. But I think they're both very talented drivers, and Gabrielli's got that race under his belt. And with the testing, I think they'll both be able to fight for a title pretty quickly. But yeah, I have a feeling Paul will go to a different outfit.
Interesting. We'll come on to that in a minute. Let's go to Rodin then. Obviously, good season this season, actually. Currently sitting third in the standings, second in the standings even. So, yeah, good season for them so far. Hang on, no, fifth in the standings. Sorry, I'm getting bigger. Fifth in the standings so far. But obviously, Zane Maloney, a race winner with the team. Who are they going to go for in 2025, Aaron?
So I've got Dennis Hauger returning, and he's going to be alongside Kush Miney. Both drivers have shown shoots of promise and not yet delivered on them. Rodin are a team that want to go places, and they want to be sort of topping this category. So I think that I can see them bringing in two drivers with a bit of a point to prove to sort of spice things up and see if they can drive the team forward. It could also blow up in their faces if they did this. Because if you're bringing in two drivers with a point to prove, they could just start crashing into each other. And we know how well Formula 2 drivers follow team orders. So, yeah, good luck, Rodin.
Interesting. Hauger and Kush Miney at Rodin. I'd actually quite like to see that, to be honest with you. I think that would be a good lineup for them. Chris, who you gone for?
Yeah, that's it. This one is quite an interesting one for me, the Rodin seat. I think Zane Maloney had a very, very good run with him. Kush Miney, it could be a very good switch for him to jump over to Rodin. It didn't quite work out for him with Invicta this year. Maybe didn't get the championship charge that Gabriel Bortoletto has got. So I think a switch for him could be really, really a good decision. But
Chris,
then I look towards...
Sorry, just interrupting. Does Miata return? I think that's a big talking point because he hasn't had the season that he's expected, does he? Does he return next year?
I don't think so. I think he probably has maybe had his run in it. And then I look towards their Formula 3 team, see if they bring anyone up from that. I mean, Callum Voisin had a really good season there, but I think a step up for him might be just a season too early, stepping up for him. But that said, he had a really good season, so it could be a really good pump for him to come up and step into that team alongside someone like Kush Miney. But then there are still a load of F2 drivers in there that would you'd be losing places to, but someone like Callum Voisin, for example, would be itching for a seat, but I think he might look to pivot to a different team in that series. But yeah, I think they'll take two drivers that I'm probably with Aaron, that look to move up within the grid, for example. Maybe someone like I think a Jack Crawford to try and even just go for his full championship charge, and a Kush Miney, for example. That could be two good drivers who have done a season and really push for their championship, which they still haven't quite got in FIA Formula 2.
Yeah, interesting. So Dennis Hauger and Kush Miney for Aaron, and Jack Crawford and Kush Miney for Chris. I'd like to see both of those lineups at Rodin, to be fair, next season. I think it's a good seat, and it would be interesting to see how those drivers go. Hitech.
I've gone for Luke Browning. I've seen rumours that he is headed that way, and I've partnered him with probably the surprise driver of 2024 in Formula 2, Josh Dirksen. I've been thoroughly impressed with the Paraguayan, and do you know what I think? I mean, this isn't to do AIX a disservice. I think he has the capability to handle a machine that's further up the grid. Obviously, AIX have done brilliantly at points this season. They've won races. They've been on the podium. So, I think Dirksen is probably ready for being at the front a little bit more consistently. And Luke Browning has shown in Formula 3 that he's more than ready to be at the front, at the sharp end, fighting away for wins, for titles. And Hitech are a team, like I said, they do tend to just sort of get to that precipice of becoming a Prema, an ART that goes on and becomes champions of this series, and then they kind of just sort of disappear again. It kind of happened this season. It looked like they were going to sort of positioned themselves to be really having a title assault, but it just hasn't quite, through one reason or another for Paul Aaron, it's not quite materialised. So, I'd like to see them do well, and I think Browning and Dirksen would be a very interesting lineup.
Browning and Dirksen, I love that. I think that'd be a good lineup. And with all due respect to Hitech and Dirksen, Hitech do usually go with a driver with a bit of money. We all know that Luke Browning doesn't necessarily have the biggest budget in the world, so I think that would kind of make sense as well, to be fair. Chris, who you gone for at Hitech?
Hitech. I think Luke Browning's definitely going to be heading in that direction. Him stepping up was a really good opportunity for him. He had a really good season fighting in Formula 3, literally all the way to the end. So I think that's been really good. Amaury Cordial could possibly stay there, in my opinion. I think there's an opportunity we could see him do another season. I don't know if Amaury Cordial looks to move away from the championship, and he might have a strong relationship with them now just to continue on in that seat. So there's a possibility that he stays there, and I don't know if Joshua Dirksen would want to move away from the AIX seat that he's in. But Joshua Dirksen, that could also be another one with the backing that he's gaining. I think that could also be another one that could. I know he's gaining a lot of support with the history he's making for his country. So that could also be good. But possibly Amaury Cordial staying in that seat is one I wouldn't be surprised with either. So I'd say Browning to come up, and with them keeping someone like Amaury Cordial in the seat, I wouldn't be too surprised with that.
No, I wouldn't either. Definitely not. So you've both gone with Browning in one seat, and Aaron's gone with Dirksen in the second. Chris has gone with Cordial in the second seat at Hitech. Moving on then, another big team, ART. Who's going to be at ART in 2025, Aaron?
I think this is going to be something of a super team at ART. They're going to have Victor Martins. He's going to come back and fly the flag for Alpine and France in the French team. He's going to be joined by Enzo Fittipaldi.
Oh, wow.
I don't know whether Enzo is going to come back to Formula 2, because I think he's got unfinished business in this series. He's better than his current performances and results would suggest. And obviously he had that run out last year with Carlin just after they'd had a really strong season, and they had a bit of a dip as they sort of transitioned from being Carlin to becoming Rodin. And it didn't quite work out. He's done okay with VAR this year, taking that feature race win in Jeddah. Whether he moves on and goes off to maybe IndyCar or something different, who knows? But I think there's certainly unfinished business for him here. And I'd like to see him alongside Victor Martins. And we get a really good comparison of actually two drivers who are well respected in the Formula 2 paddock and are kind of on the very, very periphery of a Formula 1 opportunity. It would take a lot of manoeuvring for them to get in, but there is probably a scenario where they could, but they're probably not going to. So it's about impressing at the highest level possible to get the best possible seat elsewhere, I think, for those two.
Chris, have you gone with Victor Martins to stay at ART and in Formula 2? And who do you think is going to be on alongside him if that is the case?
Yeah, I think he probably could do with another season there, in all honesty. It's not worked out for him. I think we've seen drivers at that team do similar things in the past, and it has worked out for them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him do just one more season and really go for it, basically, to kind of go along with Aaron there. And I think Paul Aaron will be his teammate next year at ART. I don't think that's what his plan was, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him change. I had a feeling if Paul was not going to be, my initial thoughts was for Paul that he might go to Formula E. And then I think it pivoted towards he really had an opportunity to be on the Formula 1 grid. But yeah, I think we all kind of forgot that he was actually a rookie for a step for one stage, and that he hasn't had that championship win in his belt just yet. But this, like similar to Gabriel Bortoleto in Formula 3, this could have been his season, and it still can. There's still 2 rounds to go. So I think we all kind of forgot that for a while, and everyone was just expecting him to run away with it. But I think, yeah, he's demonstrating that he is a rookie, and he's with a really solid team and doing them a really good job. So I think he'll come back for one more year with the team has won this championship before, and I think with that, alongside another great driver like Victor Martins, those two can go on a real championship charge together. And with knowing that car a bit better between him and the team, I think he's got a great chance to go and win the championship and get himself into the conversation for a Formula One seat even stronger going forward.
Victor Martins and Paul Aron would be a mega strong lineup as well, wouldn't it? So, just to recap. Sorry,
yeah, well, I was going to say, and he did race for them, I think, in Formula One Euro Cup as well. So he's got a history with the team, so it wouldn't surprise me if he was going to go to anyone else other than Hitech or Prema, it would be them.
ART. Yeah, no, I agree. I can see that happening. So just to recap then, so Aaron's gone for Victor Martins and Enzo Fittipaldi. Chris has gone for Victor Martins and Paul Aron for 2025. Dams, probably the last team available, which you just, one of the bigger teams, if you like. Aaron, who have you gone for in those two seats?
So I've got Dino Beganovic stepping up from Formula 3 with Dams. Obviously, in my situation, he's not got a seat at Prema, so he's having to look elsewhere. And he finds a home at Dams. And he's going to be joined by Zach O'Sullivan, who's going to sort out all of these sponsor issues. Williams are going to support him and get him back on the F2 grid because he was doing a quietly very, very good job. Obviously, ART this year not having their strongest year, and Victor Martins probably not having his strongest year, but Zach O'Sullivan was proving every inch an equal to Martins, and sometimes even bettering him. Obviously, think of that stunning victory in Monaco where they goal-hanged for the safety car, and it came, the virtual safety car came just as they came into the pit lane, so it counted as his legal pit stop, and he got that famous win. So that's an exciting lineup. Two young, hard chargers, both wanting to make a mark on the series. O'Sullivan to show that, he's able to cut it with the big boys at the front of this grid. And Beganovic will be the new kid on the block, wanting to impress everybody and show that, I believe he's Ferrari backed, isn't he? Correct me if I'm wrong, Fraser?
Yeah.
He is. So he'll be looking to show Ferrari that he's their next cab off the rank as well, after sort of Behrman, and obviously they've got Arthur Leclerc still around as well. So there's a lot of people for those two drivers to impress.
Yeah, teammates last season in Formula 3 reunited in 2025. Let's wait and see. Chris, who have you gone for at Dams?
This is this could be an interesting one. They could do with someone in good form. Could someone like Richard Bashore want to be the answer to that for them? That could be quite an interesting shout if he was looking to go there. I know Aaron put his name forward for MP Motorsport, which could be a good shout given he has previous experience with them. I think they'll like to hang on to one of their drivers, Juan Manuel Correa or Jack Crawford. So I think they'd probably like to hang on to someone like Juan Manuel Correa, who's done a great job for them this season. But yeah, someone like Richard for sure. I think he's in really good form so far this year. I think he'll look to try and progress his way forward, and Dams could be a great shout for that. They're in a really good battle in the teams championship at the moment, where I think any one of a number of teams could win, including them. So someone like Richard for sure could be a great shout for them.
Okay, so Beganovic and O'Sullivan for Aaron, and Vachon and Correa for Chris. Let's go. We've got three teams left. We've got Trident, we've got AIX, and we've got VAR. Let's go quick fire, Aaron. So let's go with Trident first. Who are the two drivers you think are going to be at Trident?
I've gone for Mansell. That is Christian, not Nigel, and he's going to be partnered by Ritomo Miata.
Wow, okay. You think Miata's going to be returning, yeah?
I think he would like to do maybe another year. Just we've seen it. We've seen the Japanese drivers come across to Europe and struggle, and he has struggled at times. But there have been some sort of blossoming moments of promise. Maybe he can deliver that in a second season. So we'll hopefully he does come back and doesn't go back to Super Formula, because I think that might be like an opportunity wasted. It's, have your season of learning and getting adjusted to the culture and how things are done around here, because they're going to be different. But stick around to really give it a go in season 2. I think that's important.
Fair enough. Chris, who you gone for at Trident?
I'll go for Mansell and Sami Megatunov.
Megatunov to make the step up, yeah?
Yeah, possibly. I think he's done a really good. He's either going to stay there one more year, or he'll come back. But I have the feeling he'll move up.
Step up.
I think it'll be one of the surprise signings actually.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I like that. That would be exciting. Aaron, AIX, who you gone for?
I've gone for Amory Cordial in a seat swap with Josh Dirksen, and he's going to be partnered by Juan Manuel Correa. My word, I can't word anymore.
Okay, so Amory Cordial and JM Correa, whilst Aaron recovers his words. Chris, who you gone for AIX? And we've just been talking, haven't we, about that team potentially. They've always gone for potentially a driver with some good money in that team, but actually, they've really improved in the second half of this season, and that could be a really good seat for someone, right?
Oh, yeah. For AIX Racing, I'd go for Josh Dirksen to probably stay there. I think he's had a really good season with them. I don't think he's gonna move from that package. I think it's been a really good season for him there, and I think they'll probably look to try and promote from within their ranks. Yeah, I've already said Nikita Bedrin. I think he might have been a really good shout for them. Driver swap from within the Formula 2 ranks. Someone like, Dennis Hauger, I haven't used his name yet, but that might feel like a step down for him, really. Who else could stay on the grid? I'll go for Rafael Villagomez. I think he's going to stick around. Yeah.
Nice, good stuff. Villagomez and Dirksen for Chris, and Cordial and JM Correa for Aaron. And the last seat, or the last team on the grid, VAR. Who you gone for, Aaron?
I've gone for Pepe Marti and Oliver Goethe. I think Marti, like Chris mentioned earlier, he just needs that confidence boost. Just something needs to change. He's had a wretched season, hasn't he? It's just not worked out. It started so promisingly, but it's just kind of ebbed away ever since. And obviously, he was involved in that scary start line crash in Baku, and he's walked away from it, which is very, very thankful. And Oliver Goethe, like you mentioned earlier, Chris, he's done very, very well. He was impressive on his Monza debut. So I think I can see him sticking around. Obviously, you've got him at MP. I've got him at another of the Dutch teams in Formula 2. So, it's pick your Dutch friends, please, Oliver Goethe.
Love it. Chris, who you gone for, VAR?
VAR. For Van Amersfoort Racing, I'm going to go for Sophia Flörsch to make the step up. I think it will. It'll be one of. I know she was testing the car, so I know that might be one that surprises some people, but I know she's been quite vocal in the fact that she does want to make the step up. So I think that she will, and then they will keep someone on the grid for next year to keep that experience there. So just having a look down. Dennis Hauger to move over to Van Amersfoort. I think he's got to have a really big season, and he's got to bring the experience to that team. He'll do what Richard Vishaw did this year with Trident.
Really interesting. So Pepe Marti and Ollie Goethe for Aaron at VAR, and Dennis Hauger and Sophia Flörsch for Chris at VAR. That's what Aaron and Chris think. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Who do you think will be driving where in Formula 2 in 2025? I cannot wait to see how wrong we all are, guys. I really, really can't. So we revisit this in April and see how many correct answers or wrong answers we have. Should we do that?
I think I'm going to have...
Absolutely.
I'm going to have 5 correct answers, including the 2 that we already know.
You've already got 2 points in the bag, or both of you, so that's a good point. Exactly.
2/3 of the way to this year's score.
Love it. Chris, when are we going to hear you back in the commentary box before we go? Any more plans for this year, or is it looking to 2025 for yourself now?
Yeah. Well, I've got the FRECA season finale at the end of the month, and then on the end of this month now, and then it's a bit of a break, really, looking towards next year. But post-season testing is obviously soon, so I'll be looking forward to following that.
Definitely, and we're looking forward to, obviously hearing your voice in the commentary box in 2025 as well. So my thanks to Aaron and to Chris. We got plenty more content coming your way before Formula 2 hits the tarmac again in Qatar, so keep an eye out for that. Obviously, stay subscribed to our YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. And there also, the podcast will be out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts from. But from me, Fraser Ford, and all of us here at Inside F2, we'll see you next time.